many incredible games so far at Worlds 2022, T1 and Fnatic put on a show for all League of Legends fans the last time these two met. Both of these teams are absolutely determined to get through to the next round and are now neck and neck in the standings.
일단 프나틱한테 한 판 져가지고 좀 기분이 안 좋았는데 다음에 이제 복수할 기회가 있다는 거에 일단 다행이라 생각하고 꼭 이길 수 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
Gumayusi is going to be backed up by Keria. The killer instinct. That's one. That's two. Jensen pop for a triple. Guma gets a quadra.
The player that everyone has their eyes on this group is Humanoid. Since play-ins, he has outclassed every mid laner in his way, including the unkillable Demon King.
Can't find his way in either. They get Nami. The scoop buys time. Perfect timing by Humanoid. And it's T1 lands to the slaughter.
After playing all the teams in our group, it gave us confidence knowing that we can beat anyone for sure. Usually our mental hasn't been the best, but now our mental is like really unbreakable.
In today's featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, FLICKR is out for revenge. And this is a player that has broken the backs of many young mid lane hopefuls. Will he do the same today?
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk for our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. It's Fnatic looking to rebound after taking that first loss of the day against none other than T1. And I'm going straight to the mid lane Dagda. Humanoid, after not getting his hands on the Azir, falls down to Jensen, and he has to rebound against this man right here.
That's a lot of ones in there. That's an awful lot of ones. And I think FLICKR has been absolutely incredible, not only in the past, but also what we've seen at this world stage, right? Bringing out the Akali twice in a row, bringing out the Lissandra, showing that he's got a multitude of different things that he can play. And I think now the pressure's on for Humanoid. When we got in that last game and he wasn't on the Azir, he didn't look anywhere near as dominant as he had in his previous games. So I expect FLICKR to then target that once more and see if he can control Humanoid again and keep Fnatic in check as a result.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what Fnatic thinks is the answer if that Azir is not banned. And then also, to your point, we've seen FLICKR play both different styles. Is he going to go for something like an assassin or more of a facilitator?
Well, Fnatic looking to rebound. For the side of T1, they win here. They guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker for second place, so they can get a lot done here in just their first game of the day. We're back over to Captain Flowers and Keju, though, as the teams are readied up to dive into the action.
Thank you so much, Dash. I'm still Captain Flowers. That's still Cadril. And we have access to the lobby chat that most of y'all don't get to see before these get fired up. And there's some banter going on in this one, my friend.
Yeah, Wunder always brings the big banter, doesn't he? Trying to get in the heads of T1. But this draft will be very, very interesting because C9 found a small formula that worked against Fnatic. Taking away the Azir was so pivotal, I think, in the draft. And T1 already taking the Azir away from Fnatic. The Ornn for Wunder is another thing that I've got my eyes on. You know, will they ban away Ornn? Will they ban away Maokai? Is Sejuani something Fnatic can play? And T1 on the blue side here. Wow, they're really trying to shut down Humanoid here in his control mages.
Yeah, no Azir, no backup. You even said in the last draft when we saw that Victor picked first for Fnatic, hey, if Azir's gone, Victor Prio shoots up.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, what's next? Cross that one off.
And there goes the Renata as well, which is, I think, one of the I think it is the most played for Hilly so far in this group stage. So Maokai is up, Yuumi is up. What does Fnatic ban away here? Of course, I think with these bans, we might see Akali Sylas as the mid laner is a little bit skirmish heavy. Fiora banned, Yuumi's available. Is T1 just gonna slam it? Oh boy! So Fnatic must have a good answer to this. You don't just give Yuumi over on red side. They must have an answer. We'll see what it is and whether it is good enough. But Maokai's open, Ornn's open. That was the Fnatic special against C9 in their first game. Top jungle, good engage. Yeah, just can get counterpicked quite easily by things like Trundle. So we'll see what they opt into. But Zeus' Fiora now off the board. I think Wunder's taunting Zeus here with the Jax a little bit. I don't think they'll slam that in. So it's going to be the Lucian Nami here for Fnatic.
Okay. This one's one of those aggressive answers into something like a Yuumi. You're saying you can't give it away for free. You got to have a plan. You got to be ready. They're saying, all right, we're just going to push bottom. We're going to threaten these guys, keep that pressure on.
Yep, there's the Maokai as well. So they will pick the Nami up on 3. They know T1 can't take away the Nami, so pick up the Maokai to deny that May as well. Makes a lot of sense. So what does T1 pick here with the Yuumi? Will we see Sivir Yuumi? I think that's the most common real pairing. And then what could they pick jungle? I think Trundle is another one of them considering into Maokai. We saw that last game from C9, but Sejuani, very high prior with this tournament as well in terms of pick ban.
Massive, massive tank there in that Sejuani. And as you were predicting, Sivir Yuumi will be the duo to go up against the Lucian Nami. Sivir has that scaling power, she has that wave clear, and then that Yuumi just being able to attach for even more move speed, even more buffing.
I hate that cat.
Everyone hates that cat.
Everyone hates that
Shout
cat.
out to Medic for providing numerical, analytical reasons why Yuumi is bad. Bad to play against, not bad as a champion.
Now we just need to find a bug for her as well, and then we're all happy.
Yeah, we just checked the boxes, baby. But now we're checking the boxes for the bans here in the second half of the draft. It will be the Jax banned by Fnatic. They want to keep that one away from Zeus. Do you think it's going to be just pure top lane focus or switched up a little bit from that?
So a couple options here. The Maokai's a flex. They could pick Ornn here, Fnatic as well, and just play the Maokai Ornn run back. But with the bans on mid lane so far of mages, if LeBlanc's down and if things like Orianna are down as well, I wonder what the mid lane matchup will be. Sylas, Akali are the next one that I think of. Lissandra is another one that could work as well. But with Jax Camille bans, I think Wunder either wants Ornn, Maokai, or Gnar, something along those lines. And then they'll probably counter-pick mid. The Sejuani, of course, is a flex for T1. Zeus has a couple games under his belt. Oner doesn't really have any in summer, but I don't think it's a champ that he'd be unfamiliar with. Just really want to pair that Sejuani jungle with things like Renekton, things like Set, something that can work really well on melees. That's why it's a bit easier to put it top, but the Renekton ban is coming out from T1 to deny that from Wunder.
All right, so 3 top laners banned away in the second half of the draft. And there it is. You're talking Sylas, Akali, Fnatic are immediately ready to go, locking that one in. And it also leaves the Maokai still available as a flex.
I think Galio or Sylas here could work quite well for T1, unless they want to pivot to a Lissandra. But the reason I don't like Lissandra is because you're playing with a Sejuani. Lissandra Sejuani is so one-dimensional in being able to counter the play. This could be Zeus Yone.
Yes!
Or it could be FLICKR Yone.
Either way, I'm ready for this.
Oh, yeah, and Sylas would work really well as another melee to facilitate that Sejuani jungle we expect, and it is going to be the Sylas-Akali matchup. Skill matchup, a lot of skill expression, individual outplays in the mid lane, melee champs across the board. Now it's on Fnatic. Where's this Maokai going? Is it going top into the Yone? Do you have a counter pick into the Yone here, Wunder? Or is it just going to be the Maokai top and pick something like a Jarvan 4? Could also be a Kali top, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be.
won't.
It won't be. Yeah, it'll be the Poppy jungle, and it'll be the Maokai top here. So Wunder running back the same champ, and the Poppy makes sense into the dashes from champions like Sylas, Sejuani as well.
It always feels so good playing that Poppy to be up against something that you can really shut them down with a steadfast presence, interrupt those dashes there a little bit. Both sides having a giant meatball on the front line there as well to tank up, play front to back if they need to. I just love the fact that we're getting to see what you described as a very skill matchup, but I mean, it looks like we might just have Sylas in top side and Yone versus Akali in mid.
Oh, they swapped back now. They were teasing us a little bit. They were maybe thinking about the Zeus Sylas.
Yeah. But having a skill matchup with FLICKR and Humanoid, this is banger guaranteed, my friend.
Oh, it is indeed. And let's not forget when T1 first debuted on the world stage here this year against EDG, they were playing Fiora Sylas with the Yuumi. Now they've got Yone Sylas with Yuumi, and they steamrolled EDG with a similar kind of composition. Now it's just a question of whether they can pull it off against Fnatic, who have tools to fight back with the Akali and the Poppy, and a little bit of team fight coming from the Maokai. I think it's on Fnatic to just make sure mid is the most important role and covering top side. I think in the isolation, Lucian Nami, I think they will be able to get the push. It's just how much can they leverage on this top side of the map?
The biggest thing I'm looking at for Fnatic, I think in their previous game, Razork was just so easily read by Blabber. Everywhere he was going, Blabber was ready to go.
Yep.
I want to see him be able to find more angles, find more ganks without being countered as much like they were in the previous match.
Oh, it's gonna be exciting. Fnatic lost to C9, of course. They beat T1 the last time they played up against each other, and it was Razork on the Poppy, upset Hilly on the Lucian Nami, so they've got a similar foundation to their initial draft. But that's a Yuumi, and that's Keria's Yuumi, with a lot of melee champs on the top side for T1. Gumayusi very comfortable on the Sivir, will just play to scale. Will we see any early game shenanigans is a question. Fnatic could look for some kind of late invade. You know, Sejuani quite weak on the level 1, Yuumi similarly, despite the combat summoners. But with the 5 points on both sides, I don't think there'll be any early game level 1 invades.
Yep, 5-point spread, line of scrimmage, just gonna make sure nobody's trying to do anything too sneaky here early on. We can see junglers both hovering around that top side of the map means I'm expecting a red start for both of them, or red start, blue start, excuse me, and then working from top to bottom. I'm excited to see how active these guys get in the early game. You were talking about focus around the mid lane. The thing is about this skill matchup, it's a double melee skill matchup. There's a lot of opportunities for a properly timed gank to really swing some things.
Definitely, and both starting top side, gonna path towards the bot as you highlighted. Early wards on the exact same bush on the pixel from the side of Fnatic and T1, but that ward on the Raptors entrance will spot out where Razork is starting. Could go Raptors red into bot side here, but it's also very common to just go Raptors and then full clear to bot, leave red buff up. We'll see what he does. Phase rush for the top jungle of Fnatic, and I think Wunder will have a little bit of a hard time against Zeus. Hang on a second, Ignite dropped onto upset.
They're just immediately going in at level 1 against this Lucian Nami. With the 2 combat summoner spells and how weak champions are at level 1, they're saying, okay, you've got an aggressive duo, but we got a chance to just jump on you here early.
Yeah, and trying to contest the push here. There's a couple more minions there for Fnatic, and they have got the sustain on both sides with these enchanters. Melee matchup mid means a lot of contest, and we expect there to be action in top side, but it looks like that'll be in isolation for now until a couple more levels come through for the Yone. Level 6, there's a lot of kill pressure on this top side for either side, and Humanoid really aggressive onto FLICKR right now, who will pop the potion. T1 actually get the bot push in isolation. I think they forced it out with the Ignite, playing aggressively, stepping up. FLICKR.
They're always willing to trade. I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
And that's kind of how this matchup works in a sense. Contesting creeps also, it always becomes so hard. Humanoid has no W here.
Oh, FLICKR has gone in. Humanoid in trouble. He's walking towards the wrong way. The flash didn't work. Humanoid wanted an outplay. FLICKR's still chasing. He goes in. FLICKR! He gets first blood, but he dies doing it.
Wow, so Humanoid actually dashes back in there on top of FLICKR with the shuriken, then flashes upwards and pops the W so he can't get auto-attacked. Good mechanics coming out of the Fnatic mid laner. Manages to turn it into a 1-for-1, but like you said, that's first blood for FLICKR Sylas.
The failed flash from Oner there was what ended up costing them. I do believe that's what made that chase last as long as it did. Now Razork invading, gonna find Oner there in his jungle. FLICKR has teleported back to the mid lane, as has Humanoid. Business will continue there. Razork immediately going in, manages to just insta-gib that crab before Oner can interfere. Razork, flash, slam, just beating the hell out of him, but it ain't gonna work, because Yuumi's there to save the day. Oner getting away now, but Gumayusi's gotta be careful. Razork and Fnatic still leading the way. This is what they need to be doing. Gumayusi throwing out the boomerang, flashing away from the wall stun, and T1 retreats.
Razork had no bot push, but he's playing with no fear as well. Manages to get the heal out of Gumayusi, trades his flash for it, but then he gets Gumayusi's flash on the back end of it. Oner's red buff is still up, and Razork's gonna start it up. He's calling Hylissang. You see on the minimap, he's calling his support to help him out to secure this. Humanoid has a little bit of mid push too. I think Oner knows that this is being taken away from him. Needs to be very careful not to face check his way into this red side, because Hylissang spots him on that ward over the Rhuckz. And Razork will pick up the red. A lot of trading back in mid. Humanoid trying to get this wave in. Probably going to look for a base afterwards. Oh, maybe a dive. Hex flash on the Poppy, of course. We'll see if they pull this off. Hilly could flash over as well. Wouldn't surprise me if he does.
There they go. FLICKR is in trouble. He's down. Fnatic. I said I wanted to see moves out of Razork, and we're getting them.
Oh, we definitely are. Now look at the mini-map as well. The amount of wards that are littered in that bot side jungle from Fnatic, as well as the play mid, just allows them to be able to push Oner out of his jungle, push Gumayusi and Keria back, Hex flash over these walls, stun FLICKR into the tower. And now Humanoid's Akali sitting at 2 kills, has picked up that Oblivion Orb, the Dark Seal. He will be contesting the mid waves, and of course in a melee versus melee matchup, it makes it so hard for FLICKR to step up. And this all comes off the back of Humanoid actually trading the 1-for-1 initially, so he can fight back and get the push when he comes back to lane.
Very, very good stuff for Fnatic, having 2 kills on an Akali early. Everybody who's played League of Legends has played against Fed Akali at some point. Everybody knows it feels like the guy is just protagonist status at that point. But Razork is going to find FLICKR here in the river. Humanoid's coming to help him. Razork continues his chase. FLICKR's trying to get out. Goes into the Drake pit. Hilly's coming around now too. FLICKR fighting back, using the Drake knockback to make sure he makes his escape.
That was really smart by FLICKR. He pulls the dragon to push Razork away, because 2 things will stop him. One, the Poppy W, if he times it perfectly, can stop him jumping over the wall, and the stun into the wall. So FLICKR good.
pull of the dragon there as the upside held my breath for a second, dash forwards, but he's not in range of Gumayusi.
Not quite. That 500 range on the Lucian is a little bit limiting. They have that very far forward ward there in the second brush. But T1 just now gonna have FLICKR going up into the brush, but Fnatic's bringing down more men too. Razork shows up. Nice steadfast presence to stop FLICKR from getting there.
I would love to see mid-wave right now. I think it's frozen. FLICKR is bleeding minions, so it actually ends up crashing into the tower. But look at this CS lead right now for Humanoid.
Oh yeah.
Level 6 to level 4. FLICKR is very close to leveling up, but that's a full level lead right now for Humanoid. Upset.
Going in for Gumayusi, takes him down to 100 HP. He'll stay alive. They get that wave pushed up. It doesn't fully crash. Upset and Hilly will be able to clear these out. You can see how violent this game is getting around this bottom half of the map again. Level 6 to level 4, though, like you said, FLICKR is suffering in this 1v1.
He really is. He'll manage to level up, but really far behind in creeps. Humanoid's actually quite close to level 7 right now, so FLICKR needs to recover. Very far down in creeps, down in gold, down in experience, and it all comes off the back of Razork finding him as he roams in that bot side jungle. And Razork might find him again, you know, has the Hex Flash. Humanoid, we'll see if he fast pushes his wave in with his Qs. But no, Razork's actually gonna go over towards the blue buff, and Oner's coming out of base. Razork knows his window here, should be able to pick this one up, and the top crab as well. Zeus has had consistent top push, but I don't think he'll be able to leverage it to collapse onto Razork in time.
And this is another hit on FLICKR indirectly. Sylas versus Akali, energy champion versus mana champion. FLICKR not being able to spam spells as much with no blue. Razork still hurting him. Going after this Scuttle Crab now. His smite's on cooldown, so Oner can just walk up, slap that one away, steal that one away. And Razork has to walk on home, but he's still happy taking that blue.
Is indeed happy. Razork now hovering around mid. Maybe he's just trying to look to slow FLICKR down, hold the wave a bit so that Humanoid can catch it before it lands on the tower. We'll see if Humanoid pushes and looks for roams around the map. FLICKR taking his base. Every time we look down here on this bot side, there's a little bit of trading. Upset always wants to dash forwards, and he can when the wave's in a bit of a more stable state. You don't want to dash into that many minions. You'll always lose out on the trade. There's a Yuumi poke coming through. Razork about to take over with level 6. Oner similarly. There's the dash forwards, actually.
Okay, Upset getting the culling. But into the minion wave go most of the bullets. Gumayusi recognizing he needed to take cover immediately. And they'll get this wave pushed up even further back in mid. It's still Humanoid with a massive farm lead and more minions to pick up. FLICKR's got to try to find opportunities elsewhere. Oner's going to start up the Herald, but there is a ward in the pit from Fnatic. They are sending Razork down. Zeus coming over now too. Hilly is coming up from bottom lane. There is no movement from anybody in the bottom lane of T1. Herald's still at about 3,000, down to 1,500 now. Razork still looking to fight, still looking to contest. Oner, will it be a smite fight? It is secured. T1 have the objective. Nobody picked up the eye. He got the eye, but he'll die for it. T1's jungler flashing over the wall. You're dead, bro. What the hell?
Razork matches the flash and gets the kill. I think the idea was flash out Glass Cone and then Herald recall. Maybe there was some shenanigans in his head of how he could escape. Upset have to give up a bot wave there and loses a plate because Hilly roamed towards mid. They're pressuring the mid tier 1 here. Razork knows that Oner's bot side jungle is up. They're looking for camps down here, plates as much as possible. They're actually not even looking for the dragon just yet. So Fnatic come out ahead with a kill, but Oner still gets the Herald.
Hey, that Herald on average is worth 2 plates. Fnatic just got 2 plates. That evens out, and they're feeling good about getting another kill. They get the flash out of the Sejuani, so less playmaking ability from that one. Of course, it does cost the flash from Razork, as you pointed out, too. But this is a 25 CS lead for Humanoid now. FLICKR is going to struggle to catch up a little bit, you would have to think.
FLICKR's been dropping waves ever since he got dove mid by the Humanoid Razork at on level 5. He's not really been able to find anything here. So Humanoid fast pushes mid because FLICKR's giving up the wave to get here first. Then Oner manages to get the smite. I think it's the eye that he hits. We'll see what happens in the slow-mo. Manages to win out on the smite fight. It looks like Razork pushes Oner into Wunder to get the CC chain. Zeus has to ult out to avoid the Maokai ult himself. And I think Oner here wants to flash over, blast cone over to Rhuckz, and then just recall on the spot with the Herald. But Razork manages to flash over, the auto attack gets the kill, and then back to live, Fnatic get the first dragon of the game.
Fnatic having an awesome look here in the early game. 3-1 in kills. They got themselves that first Drake 10 minutes in. The gold, however, is still very close. There's the Sejuani ulti, not quite enough range, but the flash to follow. Gumayusi gets paid.
So that's a kill onto the Sivir. That'll help out bot a little bit. Hilly gets rooted into the Sejuani ult slow, so he has no way out of it. Flash to flash trade. Top lane has just been a bit of a struggle for Wunder in isolation. Gumayusi really wants plates. Oner might even drop the Herald here if they want to look for a full tower. Razork's here to cover. No TPs on the Fnatic solo lanes. Humanoid could try to collapse if he wants to with this huge level lead, but it looks like he's staying around mid. So, plates funneled into the Sivir. Actually, the knockback will buy time.
Nice.
Can they stop this Herald from crashing is the question. It's a 3v3 as of now. Humanoid still has not moved. Herald has to get through this wave.
They'll have a little bit of firing time on it. T1 aggressively pushing this up. They really want this crash. Level up's gonna happen now too. Okay, I love the attempt there from Fnatic and from Razork, but it's not going to pay the dividends they wanted. The Herald's gonna get the 2 plates. Bottom lane turret barely hanging on, and T1 go up by about 700 gold.
500 gold lead on the AD carry roll there for Gumayusi. Will be able to get towards his mythic a little bit quicker than Upset. We know the power of the Lucian Gale Force when the Nami has mandate as well. That's the big spike for that lane, but still a little bit far away because of the serrated Dirk as well. So Humanoid's had so much mid push and he's up so many creeps, but he's not actually transferring his pressure to bot there. I wondered if the Akali could move down here to threaten the 4v3 to stop the Herald. Upset gonna chunk out Gumayusi a little bit, but no kill pressure there.
Yep, Gumayushi's just able to walk that one all the way back off. Fnatic in this bottom lane. The Lucian Nami, the 1-item power spike where they start to feel so fearsome. That's when I want to really see some of that kill threat coming out. As Gumayusi still has 23 minions left to go on that Cull before he's going to get a gold infusion. And now let's see if they can get Hilly again. There's no flash available. The Boomerang Blade comes out. The spell shield is beautifully timed. Upset. Both summoner spells to get away.
Oner always hovering bot. He knows his win condition on the spot side. They can't win the 2v2 mid, and Zeus is doing so fine in isolation, and shutting him down won't really net Fnatic that much because it's your tank top jungle. Razork might be able to smite this one away.
Oh yeah, easy money there. Just yoink it right from over the wall. Zeus won't get that. And then back here in mid, Razork again looking for an opportunity, potentially onto FLICKR. Oner's around, but there's no Sejuani ulti.
So Fnatic have actually sent Wunder bot. He actually TP'd on that tower to save it, to stop Gumayusi from being able to pick it up, and then upset base and ran towards top. They're trying to mismatch the lanes here to put their tank into the Sivir to deny any kind of dives. But I think Gumayusi will then run top to match the Lucian when he sees upset, because Fnatic want to avoid the T1 bot lane as much as possible. I think they know that they're losing out on the 3v3 right now, and upset still needs that Gale Force.
And if we're talking mythics, you can see right there on the left side of your screen, the first one completed there for Gumayusi, the Kraken Slayer on the Sivir for plenty of DPS. Back here in mid, Oner just trying to help FLICKR get this wave shoved up a little bit. FLICKR down almost 35 CS in this mid lane matchup. As Razork walking through that top side river, he has his bottom lane and support right next to him. Oner knows he can't contest this.
He does indeed, and now T1 have evened up the lanes. They've matched the states that they wanted. They've put Zeus back into Wunder. They put Gumayusi back into Upset. Look at Upset summoners. No flash, no cleanse. If Sejuani's even around or in a top rush, he's basically dead, so they have to give up a lot of this push. It's Humanoid that's holding Fnatic in this. It's Humanoid with this big lead, as you just highlighted, that can push in waves and move whenever Fnatic need him. So that'll be their band-aid for these side lane differences right now. And 1 minute on the Dragon. I wonder if T1 decides to swap back, because now Gumayushi's moving mid and FLICKR is moving top. A lot of lane movement coming in here, but Zeus will get the Grump.
Zeus going in, wants to steal it away. Just fighting against Wunder, snaps right back to where he began. This Yone in isolation, you've been talking about the advantages he's built. It just feels so good to get a meatball to just beat on your free farming. You do whatever you want, and he scales up for free as a champion that is just absolutely frightening with a couple of items.
Yeah, especially with a Yuumi on his back. We'll see if he can get to that 2 or 3 item spike on the Yone and shut down the carries of Fnatic. Wunder will be more of a frontline teamfight utility, not really expected to win the lane. 30 seconds on this Dragon. How does Fnatic play this out? Because Humanoid's their strongest member, but he's on this top tier 1 and with no TP. So T1 could opt to the 4v4. I think they're much stronger in that sense. Just about mid push, and who can get the objective first? Zeus will pick up this tower, but there's no wave behind him. Needs to be careful.
Yeah, I think he overestimated how quickly he could take that down there. Had to spend the Fate Seal to get back out. Wunder flashing forward, flash for flash there. As Zeus walks his way out, he'll pay for that one a little bit.
Classic. Wunder drops the laugh the second Zeus flashes away. We'll see if he tries to stop his base here, because Drake is spawning. Zeus will be able to TP back to this bot tier 1. Humanoid is now moving from the top side. It looks like, no, hang on a second, he's going back to the lane, but Shield Bow picked up for Zeus.
Exactly. That's the critical thing right there. This item giving so much more survivability in a team fight where he could otherwise be focused down more easily. And now the Drake, the Hex Tech Drake, 9% attack speed and 9 ability haste is going to feel nice no matter what champion you're playing. Fnatic, of course, got that first Ocean Drake for themselves. The score is tied 3-3. The gold favors T1 by nearly 2K. Zeus going in, this time with Soul Unbound to make sure nothing bad happens.
Look at the gold lead in top, 1.5k in isolation. First brick over to Zeus. Both mid laners have TP on this top side. Dragon is up. Both bot lanes coming out of base as well. I think both teams want to contest this Dragon. The easy play for Fnatic could be just to drop the Dragon and then move towards Herald if T1 tried to contest, but they're going to start this one up. Upset's coming out of base. There's a TP from FLICKR on bot wave. He'll match with Zeus on the bot side as a flank. Oner might come down here as well. Gumayusi a little bit split, will group up with his team. Now Fnatic could just decide, let's go Herald. We've got their TP. Let's try to get their top tier 1 on cross map. But that'll deny a second Dragon from them. Mid-wave contest coming in.
So no Dragon taken by either side. Oner's got Keria attached to him. So he'll move back down towards the Drake now. And okay, T1 are just going to go for this. Humanoid is top, but he has a teleport. Fnatic don't seem to be wanting to commit that to this. Razork's gonna walk up and try to see if he can steal this one away. Poppy ulti came through. Drake is secured. Razork jumps into FLICKR. Humanoid's made his way into the fight now. FLICKR just instantly dead. Not looking good there as Wunder and Humanoid look to find a little bit more, but they seal his fate. Humanoid is down, and Zeus tries to fight, but he falls next. Wunder burns away to the Ignite as Gumayusi looks for Hylissang. Upset dashes back over the wall, and Oner is ready for the flash follow. Cleanse gets upset away. Razork tries to rejoin with his bottom laners. Oner goes in, and Hilly tries to flash. He'll escape for now.
The solo laners fall on both sides. It's the jungle bots that fight to the death. T1 trying to chase Fnatic down there. They managed to get a lot of summoners out of the Fnatic squad, but it's Zeus who turned that fight for T1. It looks so disastrous. The second FLICKR basically got caught and died instantly. T1 won't be able to find an objective for this, and they picked up the Dragon. Base is coming in. Next objective will be the Herald. We'll see if we find another 5v5.
One of the stories that has always followed FLICKR throughout his incredibly long and accomplished career is how teams will focus him and he'll absorb the pressure. He's been focused a lot this game, and Fnatic weren't stopping in this fight.
He certainly has. So this bubble from Hilly seals the deal because the Poppy ult misses. If that hit Humanoid, maybe he could live and get out. So Humanoid goes forwards. Now watch Zeus here. Pops the E and then manages to get a lot of damage onto Wunder. Then dashes through Humanoid, knocks him up, gets the ult and takes down the mid laner. Turns into a 4v4. It's on Upset, but it takes so long to get Zeus down that by the time he does, Wunder also falls. The 3v3 is winning for T1 with the Yuumi. Upset being low, Razork being low. It's just a case of get the hell out of there.
Upset's cleanse, that is twice this game now that it has saved him from an otherwise grisly fate. So getting a lot of value out of that summoner spell, especially against the Sejuani. But now let's take a look at how much damage actually got done. You can see it's the AD carries topping the charts for both sides, and those tank junglers leading the way right behind them.
They really are. So this is a bit of a precarious situation here. So Fnatic's on the Herald, but they're losing their mid-tier 1. Hylissang and Upset are split. T1's going to engage on this 3-man.
FLICKR comes out with the stolen Maokai ulti. Now the real Maokai ulti comes back. Poppy disengaged. They want to separate T1. Zeus is going to be focused first. He had to get away, but now Humanoid's in the back. He's looking for Oner and FLICKR. Humanoid is caught. You can focus him again and again and again and again and again and again and again, but FLICKR finds his way.
The Shuriken into death there. Razork hit a crucial 2-man knock with that Poppy ultimate, and Humanoid decided to follow through with his E, I believe. Fnatic get the Herald. They lose Humanoid and they lose their tower. Second items coming in here for T1. Gold leader stayed pretty consistent around 2,000 to 2,500 gold. These teams going very back and forth. FLICKR finding a kill there.
Here's another look.
So FLICKR takes the Maokai ult and they collapse from mid. Watch this knock from Razork. I think that as he knocks, Humanoid hits his E onto FLICKR. So Humanoid says, hang on a second, maybe I can kill FLICKR here with the Shuriken. Decides to take it. Despite the fight basically being won, jumps on top of the Sylas. Oner notices, and now he's in a 2v1, gets stunned up in his W, and can't R2 out in time. By the time he does, he falls.
Nicely done there from T1. Overconfident from Humanoid in his ability to take out that enemy mid lane. And now T1 commanding still about a 2,500 gold lead. They're gonna look for the top lane tier 1 turret. Gumayusi, he's got his Yuumi locked and loaded. The ignite onto Wunder. That tree is going down. Gumayusi picks it up, but Fnatic are looking to trade back. Racing a Herald for turrets often does not work. Oner jumps over. Zeus follows up. Hilly Hilly's trying to get away. T1's in hot pursuit. Oner's grabbing the first kill. The Herald dies with the turret. Razork's gonna be next. Upset tries to provide covering fire, but Humanoid's made his way in. He's ejected, and Gumayusi is ready to catch the pass. Humanoid again trying to get away. A double kill back over to FLICKR. Humanoid running. The only man left standing in Fnatic colors.
T1 collapsed so beautifully onto Fnatic's push there from topside with the TP from FLICKR. Huge step up by the top jungle of T1 to shut down Hylissang, to shut down the bot lane of Fnatic, and now they're gonna get themselves a Baron as well. 4 kills and an Ashe. T1 just blew open the game.
Absolutely incredible sequence of events. Watch this again.
Zeus on the side, Oner on the opposite side. Ult lands onto Hilly. Zeus pops the ult as well to land onto Hilly too. The TP coming in from FLICKR is just all about buying time. The 3-man top side just running Fnatic down. They have to split. Razork gets caught after Hilly, and then Humanoid comes from the side here, but it's FLICKR's steal Poppy ult that knocks him out here. Humanoid actually uses the E just 1 second before the E2. He gets knocked back, and he gets knocked into Gumayusi. FLICKR takes down Upset, and then Fnatic, T1 turn towards the Baron.
This game went from very close, but T1 favored, to Fnatic now having to fight for their lives. This is not what they needed here at just 22 minutes into the game. Remember in their last game, it was a similar early Baron against them. They could not recover. Zeus ready to fight, ready to win. I called him the protagonist, and I meant it. 1v3, and he already got the first kill. Now he might find a second. Wunder wants to get away, but Zeus will barely fail to kill him.
Gods are bleeding here. Zeus almost gets the 1v4. If he got that first kill with the Triumph, I think he could have turned it with the lethal tempo stacks. He does fall. T1 get this bot tier 2. They managed to get the Baron buff off of the Yone, so that helps in the push, but it doesn't stop Gumayusi and Keria in their tracks to get their tower. They might move towards mid here. Fnatic don't have enough wave clear to stop this push. Humanoid's up in 8, but he doesn't have TP. He just used it towards the top side, so this Baron netting them a couple of objectives.
They got Zeus, but it took so many men and so many resources. T1 punches back harder. They'll secure the tier 2 in bottom, secure the tier 2 in mid. FLICKR just gets his recall interrupted, but Fnatic, no, they can't do any more than that. FLICKR just getting interrupted again. Everfrost gonna slow him down. He can walk this one off, no problem. You would think, eventually.
Razork wants to delay him as much as possible.
Razork is being the most obnoxious poppy possible.
He really is. And despite FLICKR being down so far behind in gold and experience, he manages to find a couple kills and fights to get him back in the game. This is the top dive, so Fnatic recognize that T1 are going to play 1-3-1 here and just destroy their base. They need to get a Baron buff off of someone. Zeus does so much damage to kill Humanoid, then gets stunned up, manages to get the lethal tempo fully stacked up. Nice W there to stop the dash from the Yone into the knockup from Hylissang. If he took down that Maokai with the knockup, I think he would have turned and killed Razork and Hylissang too, but game of inches. Fnatic trade 1-for-1. Shut the Yone down, and now here comes the top push. Bot outer tower, bot inner tower, mid inner tower. Now it's going to be top.
And ward lines, I think, tell so much of a story in a game of League of Legends. And you can see right now, there's really not a whole lot of wards outside of the Fnatic jungle. They are in pure defense mode. A single control ward placed down in their enemy jungle on the backside of the red buff. But everything else is just Fnatic trying desperately to hang on to the territory they have. This is their last structure standing outside of the base. And T1 is moving towards it fast. FLICKR ejecting part of the front line. Hilly is caught, and FLICKR is on a rampage. Wunder looking to see if they can follow this up. FLICKR getting away for now, but the Yuumi ulti comes through. Now Wunder's been baited in. He tries to heal it up, but he can't do it. T1, get it done.
Humanoid no TP, he can't join that fight. Fnatic didn't want the fight in the first place, but FLICKR forces it. They're gonna crack the base open. Tier 3 will fall. Will they get the inhibitor as well? 30 seconds on Wunder should be easy pickups. FLICKR actually TP's bot there to defend the tower to deny an objective bounty, and they can continue to play on these two lanes, top and mid. I think 2 inhibs will fall here unless Fnatic can find a miracle fight. You can see FLICKR chasing Humanoid on the minimap to slow him down as much as possible while T1 destroy these structures.
Keria jumps back to the safety of his team. The mid lane inhibitor drops. Oner dashes forward. Hilly throws out the wave, but it's going to go right through the uprights. No lockdown, no control. Fnatic, they lose 2 inhibitors. FLICKR's jumping in. They're seeing if there might be an angle here, but they call it too risky. They want to back away from this one. They already just smashed the base of Fnatic.
Oh, they've just demolished it, really, haven't they? And they didn't lose anything. You can see that bot tier 1 for T1 is really low HP. Would have been an objective bounty for Humanoid, but FLICKR doesn't give them absolutely anything. Take a look at this dive again, because FLICKR using the Poppy ult actually knocks Razork out, and then he finds Hylissang after Oner lands the ultimate into Everfrost into the chain. Absolutely one shot, and then it's a 3v4. Gumayusi is a bit zoned away, but FLICKR with the W and the flash out manages to stay alive.
FLICKR was so focused and so behind and so targeted by Fnatic in this game. He's done a great job coming back into it. 5-3-1 here on the Sylas. He's got his Everfrost, he's got his Zonias, he's ready for playmaking. Razork has used the steadfast presence already. He's trying to get away. He's got locked down. He wants to knock him away,
beautiful.
but it just doesn't work. Gumayusi's got the spell shield. He's got the reaction time. He's got the kill. Fnatic 4v5 for the next 35 seconds.
And T1 have a bot wave coming in. This could be 3 inhibitors down for Fnatic. That's as good as game. We'll see if they try to defend it. Upset really low on mana, has to base. Wunder might be caught here by FLICKR.
FLICKR just gonna go in, no fear, ready to start this off. Maokai ulti continues flying out. Humanoid wants to jump forward. This Akali that had that lead early on has not been able to answer T1's game plan, and now they'll knock down the last remaining tier 3 turret, the last remaining inhibitor.
Inhib's gone. Fnatic don't decide to take the 4v5. They're so far behind at a numbers disadvantage. You can't really blame them for giving that up, but now super creeps will be flooding into their base. T1 will hold them at their nexus, and Fnatic will have to make a last stand eventually, but T1 are just too damn strong.
It's do or die for Fnatic right now. Upset fires off the culling. Zeus jumps in. It immediately demands a response, and Hilly's ulti is used next. Baron spawning now. It's alive, it's on the map, and it's T1 with total control.
Yeah, T1 aren't taking their foot off the gas. The creeps are pouring in, but they can secure a Baron before they land towards the Nexus. Buff up all of those super creeps. And with TP on Zeus, he can take a base if he wants to TP back in here. FLICKR will stick around. I think Gumayusi will stick around as well as the waves come in, unless he has a huge IE in base. Probably has a lot of gold. It's just a question of how quickly T1 to close this out. Looks like Gumayusi's going towards the Gromp then, so they're saying, let's get 4 items on Sivir. Let's just make this clean and easy. There's no need to overforce anything. And they'll come out of base with their Baron buff.
And FLICKR gets revenge, stealing those blue buffs back for what he lost early on in the game. This man has done some awesome stuff here in this one. T1 sitting on, what's the math on that? About 11-5 in terms of gold lead. This is almost insurmountable. They would need to conga line down mid 1 at a time, 2 or 3 times in a row for Fnatic to really have an angle here. It feels so impossible to defend against this lead.
Yeah, T1's game plan just fantastic from start to finish. Match the 3v3 bot side, give up mid push and just let Zeus play in isolation. Fnatic had a lot of leverage through Humanoid, but now he's even with FLICKR. The knockback's gonna land onto Razork.
Here we go. Wunder on the front line. They'll find a little damage onto him. Yuumi ulti goes out. Humanoid's locked down. In the smoke, he's still nearly killed. Humanoid has to go right back into the fountain and heal back up. But time is ticking, and it ticks against Fnatic. The tanks are half health. The turrets are lower. They're both gone. Nexus exposed. T1 going in again. Humanoid's already down. They're trying to find a culling. They're not going to find anything. Fnatic will fall, and T1 take it off.
They get revenge for the first week of groups. Fnatic fall to T1. Very similar composition that we saw them run against EDG, and Yuumi is such a powerful champ when you give over skirmishes like Yone and Sylas, and even Sivir is a hyper carry. So many targets and Keria can sit on, and they got the better hand of the 3v3 bot side, and they managed to snowball it across the map. FLICKR found his way back into the game, and this group is shaping up to be a very messy one, with Fnatic now losing their 2 games. They need to beat EDG. 3 wins is the sweet spot for tiebreakers, and T1 just reached it.
This is truly a spicy day so far. Fnatic fans obviously not happy about these first couple of games. T1, I like what we saw from Fnatic in that early game a little bit, with Razork finding some of the moves, focusing on the FLICKR, getting the Akali ahead, but it just wasn't enough. Back into bottom lane at, what was it, minute 2 in the game, seeing them immediately go in versus the Lucian Nami to get wave control against that aggressive matchup. You applauded the game plan. I'm seconding that one. Exactly what he said. That was what they needed.
It really was, and you have to wonder as Fnatic, what do you discuss now? You've just lost 2 games. Do you stick to the same formula? Do you change it up? These control mage bans really seem to be hitting them in the mid to late game. Humanoid and Akali, 2-1, 40 CS lead, 2-level lead, just didn't transition into anything. Their bot lane was getting pushed in, their top lane was getting pushed in. T1 was first to objectives, and you have to ask yourself, maybe if Humanoid could roam towards bot during that Herald play, for example, when Razork knocked it away, maybe they could collapse on them a little bit and need to opt into a little bit more fights. So Fnatic have a lot to think about before they play against EDG later on in the day.
Absolutely. But for now, Riot is working with a non-profit Take This to develop a free curriculum on mental health tailored for anyone and everyone in gaming. Head over to takethis.org to access those resources and more for free. And now, while we get ready for our interview with T1, we're heading back over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you so much, Captain Flowers. And with 2 games under our belts, we'll start by pulling up the Group A standings. Take a look at how things stand at the moment, but also update you on all of those tiebreaker and knockout stage scenarios. With that victory there, T1 now at 3-1 have guaranteed themselves at least a tiebreaker for 2nd place. So that would be the absolute worst that their day could go if they were to drop the next 2 for Fnatic. Pressure is on, as you heard Kedril say, that sweet spot is the 3 wins. So with only 1 game left in their regularly scheduled games, they're going to want to pick that one up to at least end the day at 3-3. But plenty left to be decided here still. We should talk, though, about how T1 was able to put this one together, and unfortunately for Fnatic, how it fell through, because I think we're going to first hone in on the draft. Emily, when we've been talking about the development of the meta at this tournament, the Sivir and the Yuumi has definitely been at the forefront of that conversation, but likewise, so has things like Lucian, Nami, and so we kind of got to watch those 2 things come to a head here.
Yeah, so these are the 2 kind of picks that I pointed out for LEC and LCK, right? T1 was the first team in this group stage to pull out that Sivir Yuumi. Yuumi has been a terror ever since, and she was not banned in this game, so you saw T1 picking it up on the blue side. The other interesting thing I want to point out, though, in addition to the Lucian Nami, is the Poppy jungle, because in their first game, that was what was the huge difference maker on that Oner invade, on that like 3-minute, 19-second ward where he was able to get the flash wall stun. That changed the entire fabric of that bot lane and allowed Fnatic then to snowball their lead in the first game. So I'm not surprised that Fnatic went back to that Poppy jungle for Razork.
And I think we started to see it start off well, right? Where he was able to get to play in mid. We started to see them snowballing around the bot side of the map. But eventually T1 were just able to bring it back incredibly well with some great team fighting. And it felt like, unfortunately for Fnatic, they were never able to capitalize on any of the advantages they picked up, right? They couldn't go up towards first Rift Tower properly to work with upset Hylissang to try and make a play there. They couldn't really get Humanoid into a position to set up properly for him to step up as a Keria and the Akali. And then eventually FLICKR massively brings himself back into the game. You look at Zeus as well, who scaled the Sivir Yuumi. It was all the late game going brilliantly.
It's so tough, particularly because of how much focus we put on Humanoid as being such a pivotal member of this Fnatic roster, that when he gets taken off of the Azir, and this time it looks like it's going so well on the Akali pick. Huge CS lead while trading 1-for-1 early against FLICKR, but it wasn't enough to get him over the line. Yeah,
Akali is actually another pick that I think he's performed super well on. But as we were talking to kind of the EU casters backstage, it was like, this is the duality of Humanoid, right? And so it wasn't just, I don't think he played like super poorly, but it was just that the rest of the way the rest of the map went for T1, especially that bot lane, that's ended up making a huge difference.
Well, a bit of a stumble for Fnatic, but still not out of it for T1. They kicked the day off on the absolute right foot, and we're going to be joining Shox on stage with Gumayusi for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, Dash. Congratulations on winning the rematch, Gumayusi. We talked already before, but now that you're in the 2nd phase, I'd love to know first off what you think the key was to winning the rematch against Fnatic.
네, 구마유시 이렇게 또 한 번 인터뷰로 모시게 될 수 있어서 너무 좋습니다. 이제 푸나틱과 리매치에서 승리하셨는데 어떤 점이 가장 바뀌어서 이번에는 승리할 수 있었던 것 같나요?
뭐 저희가 이제 지고 나서 뱀픽적으로도 실력적으로도 많이 준비를 했기 때문에 이겼던 것 같습니다.
After that loss, we worked so hard on our draft and also our performance.
Okay, your draft was great, especially in the bot lane, and you had a great performance. I heard it's Keria's birthday actually over in Korea. Is there anything you'd like to say to him?
오늘 또 바텀 활약이 정말 엄청났고 좋은 조합을 가져왔는데 지금 한국 시간 기준으로 케리아 선수 생일이라고 들었어요. 한마디 혹시?
민석이 생일 축하하고 생일 선물로 8강 가는 걸로 해야 되겠습니다.
So happy birthday, Keria. Your birthday present will be our slot in the quarterfinals.
Oh, I love that. Of course, all the T1 fans are looking at you to make it to the quarterfinals. You've had 3 days off. What was the focus for you coming into this day?
네, 아무래도 T1은 8강 진출을 당연히 목표로 잡고 준비하셨을 것 같은데 3일간의 쉬는 시간 동안 어떤 점에 가장 집중하셨나요?
일단 개인적으로는 좀 여러 챔피언의 숙련도를 끌어올리는 데 집중했고 컨디션 관리도 열심히 했고 팀적으로는 처음부터 열심히 했기 때문에 그냥 변함없이 계속 열심히 연습했던 것 같습니다.
So I personally worked on, getting better proficiency on many different picks and also feeling the best for the show day. And also as a team, we've always been great. So we were always working our best. So it's been going great as a team.
Okay, finally, you of course are confident in getting out. Who do you think you're taking with you to the quarterfinals out of this group?
이제 8강 진출 확률이 굉장히 높은데요. 같이 8강에 갈 것 같은 팀이 있다면 어딘가요?
C9.
I love that. 감사합니다. Thank you very much. Thank you much, Ji-sun, as well. We're going to kick it over to a quick break, but the ONE+ cam is going to give us a refresher of what popped off at the venue in the first phase. We'll be right back.
Yeah, that's the most I can give you.
Fine. Then it's time for the ace up my sleeve. My beloved squishy pig with
original holographic cover art.
Hey, Ash, what you selling?
Save the references, Jake from State Farm. I'm saying goodbye. This little piggy went to the game store.
You don't have to sell your favorite games. State Farm has coverage options, so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Thanks, Jake. Hands off the squish!
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.